So this is the exact client acquisition system for B2B businesses that we run. So before starting any of this exact system has gotten $85,000 for Vention in 90 days, $105,000 for Connect Group, $35,000 for Hippocratic AI, 22 placements in 55 days for Elite Staffing, and 39 placements in 90 days for Crawford Thompson. So this video is particularly structured in 4 parts. The first part is offers. How to basically have a strong offer. If you already have an offer, you can skip around. The timestamps are in the description, or there are chapters basically in this entire video. You can skip around on that. The second part is signals, how to identify the exact people and how to basically find the exact people who immediately need your product, right? Or product or service. And the third part is outreach, how to basically have an infrastructure, how to basically have a particular system that reaches out to those people that you generally just want to reach out, that you want to have as clients. And the fourth part is how to make your show up rates go higher and how to make all of those calls that you're having more qualified. Okay, so this is the exact system. So the first part is offer creation. I have an atrocious handwriting. You'll have to bear with me. But see, everything starts with an offer. If you have a weak offer, no outreach infrastructure, no system is going to fix that. You need to have a strong offer first. Your entire acquisition system depends on you solving a real expensive problem for a very specific buyer. Also, there's one more thing that I want you to remember, that you'll need to figure out, you'll need this, like, very importantly, that you need to be able to figure out the exact buyer that you want to sell to and the exact company that you need to sell to. And this matters later, okay? When we build the entire signal infrastructure and the outreach infrastructure, this is gonna matter. Okay, and why does it matter? Because you cannot detect triggers if your buyer definition is vague. So the step one is you need to be able to solve an expensive problem. If you are able to solve an expensive problem, then what happens? Then you're able to charge more. If you're able to charge more, you'll have better margins, you'll have a better company overall, right? So you basically need to solve a problem that already costs the buyer money, right? Examples of the problems that are expensive are such as this, like there can be revenue loss, or it can be inability to hire, or it can be slow growth. Another expensive problem is wasted marketing spend. Then you can solve like operational problems, right? Or you can find them missed opportunities to make more money. Exactly, right? So keep this in mind. If your problem is cheap, then your offer will also be cheap. So to negate that problem, you need to find a bigger problem so that the offer can also be more expensive. Okay? And a good test is what happens if they do nothing, right? If the answer is nothing much happens, if they do not solve this problem, then your offer is weak. Okay, you need to solve that. Step 2 is you need to choose an exact buyer. Okay, see, do not target everyone, right? You need a very specific buyer. So the more specific the buyer, the easier it is to understand the problem and the easier it is to craft the message that you're going to send to them. And it becomes very easy to identify the exact decision maker. Plus, it becomes easier to detect the triggers in the signal system that I'm going to talk about in this entire video. Then the third step is define the exact outcome that you'll help the client to achieve. Clients buy outcomes. They do not buy a service, right? We run a marketing agency. That is not a good offer. That is not what the clients need. That is not what businesses need. Right. If you say we generate qualified B2B sales meeting and the expected ROI is 5x, 6x, then that is a measured outcome. Then the step 4 is have your own USP, unique selling proposition. You need to identify a particular mechanism and you need to name it so that you become unique in the buyer's eyes. Your mechanism is how you get the outcome, and this becomes your USP. It can be that you have like proprietary data. It can be you're doing signal monitoring that like we are doing. It can be you're providing automation services. It can be that you have something like special frameworks to solve a particular problem, the expensive problem that they have. Or you have a particular AI tool that solves their exact problem. Or you have a particular your own operational process that makes you very unique in your entire industry. So basically, the thing is, your USP makes your offer believable. If you just say, give me $2, I'm going to make you $100, they'll have a question called how. And the answer to that how is the USP. And the next thing that you need to do is you need to remove the risk that the buyer has. It can be they have like fears of wasting money or wasting their time, or like the fear of them getting no results. So there are certain ways through which you can basically reduce the risk that the buyer is feeling, right? And it can come through guarantees. It can be through pilot programs, or you can charge on just your performance, or you can have a particular clear timeline which defines that what is the exact result that they will be able to have. For example, for our offer, we have a 2 to 2.5 weeks of warm-up plus infrastructure build. And then we start monitoring your exact market and we start reaching out to them, and you can expect multiple meetings in upcoming weeks. So you can have particular strict, clear timelines for your entire offer. This basically reduces the risk and increases the perception of them getting a result. Now you need to package your offer. Do not present it like a vague service. You need to make them feel like this is a productized offer. And this basically includes, you need to name that offer. You need to define what is clearly included. Also, define what is not included. So what is excluded? And basically have clear deliverables and clear ROI projections. Okay. So it can look something like this. Like, I help these exact kind of buyers achieve these kinds of outcome using this exact mechanism. And then the process becomes very simple afterward. You need to add proof. For example, you can add case studies, or you can add statistics. You can add client results. You can give them exact examples of the results that you have gotten, or the mechanism that you're using that has gotten. Okay. And if by any case you do not have proof, what you can do is you can just document your entire journey, document your entire process, and give them logic of why and how this will work. And the next part, which is fairly very important, of like how to set pricing. Your pricing should be based on the value that you have created. If let's say you have created $100,000 in the value that the client is going to receive, or the ROI that the client is going to have, the pricing is generally between 10% to 20% of the entire amount of the entire revenue that you are generating for the exact client. Also, there's one more thing that you need to take in consideration, that how much does it costs the business if they are not solving this problem. So the next thing is you need to create your own landing page. Now, what is a landing page? Basically, that is a website. It's kind of a website, but it's just a web page where all of the information about your offer is written. Everything about your offer is written. It has your case studies. It has your VSL. It has your exact offer. It has qualification questions. Everything that there is, it is on the landing page. So now what you have is you have an offer, right? The next thing that you need to do is you need to do market research. Basically, you should be able to actually do market research when you're creating the offer itself, but I'm just keeping this separate for a while. So I don't think you have heard this like anywhere else, because this is the thing that I do personally. What I do is I explain every single thing that is about my business, plus the market that I want to target, the exact buyer that I want to target, the exact problem that I want to solve, and the offer that I have. What I do is I give all of this to ChatGPT, and then I ask it to ask me questions. And then what I do is I answer them in excruciating detail. And what this does is it forces clarity on your part. Like, are you even clear about your offer? It makes the offer not be vague. It makes you be able to explain all of the things that is happening in your entire offer. It makes you more capable. And the next thing that I ask ChatGPT is to like stress test it. So what it does, it identifies the weaknesses that the offer has. It identifies the objections that the prospect that it can have. It identifies the risks that I have and the logical flaws that the offer generally has. The first iteration of your offer, it might not be perfect. So you need to stress test it. So the next step in market research, you're not going to hear this anywhere else. Okay. See, you are going to tell ChatGPT everything about your business. From everything, I mean what your exact offer is, what your exact client is, what your exact prospect is, what is the exact kind of buyer that there is, and everything and everything. And then you're going to ask it to give you a deep research prompt for Gemini. And you'll ask it to make it extremely detailed. So then what ChatGPT will do is it is going to give you a particular prompt, a very detailed prompt. You go ahead and go read every single line that there is. But then what you're going to do is you're going to ask it to give you more sub-prompt of this entire deep research prompt. The sub-prompts can be like identifying the exact market size, the deep research prompt, buyer psychology, or buying triggers that the buyers generally have, your competitors or what competitors are doing generally, the pricing benchmarks that you have set or the exact pricing benchmark of the market that there is, objections and case studies. Okay, basically you'll have around one main plus 5 to 8 sub prompts. Go ahead and run deep research on all of these prompts, all of these, like let's take 8, all of these 9 prompts. Go ahead and do the deep research by Gemini. Make sure you're using the Pro subscription and download all of the deep research, all of the reports that it has given you and keep it in a particular folder. In your free time, you should definitely read all of those reports that Gemini has prepared. So what you're going to do is you're going to put all of those things in ChatGPT or Claude, and you're going to ask it to modify your offer according to all of the researches that has been given to it. So everything that we have done, this gives you a deeper understanding than most of the competitors, like most of your competitors are going to have, of the market that you're serving, plus of your offer. Most competitors won't have this much detail, this much data about the offer and about the market that they're serving. The next thing that we need to do is we need to find people who immediately need our services. So right now, what do you have? You have a compelling offer as of now, and you have extensive market detail, market research done already. You're way ahead of all of the competitors or in the market research part especially. Also, this is where most people mess this up. Why? Because they just go start searching for the right company. But this entire model depends on one thing: signals. So instead, what you do need to do is you need to search for the right moment. The exact moment that the problem that you are solving becomes urgent for the company. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to identify when the problem becomes urgent. And these moments, you will be calling them triggers. Okay? These are the triggers that you are identifying. For example, they can be funding, they can be new launches of products, they can be a company is hiring aggressively, it can be if a company is entering a new market, or the best thing, which is a company is experiencing a crisis, right? There's a crisis going on in the company, or there's a crisis going on externally which is affecting the company. All of these triggers, if you monitor them, if you find them carefully, all of these triggers create urgency. Okay, and you need urgency to sell anything. You need urgency so your sales cycle, so your everything just becomes more shorter and things become easier to sell. Also, the thing is, the trigger that we are talking about right now, this is going to become the context through which we are going to reach out to the companies later. It is the exact reason that you are contacting them today. If there was no trigger, why are you contacting them today? Why haven't you messaged them? Why haven't you emailed them? Why haven't you LinkedIn DM'd them 3 days ago? Why haven't you done that? Why are you messaging them right now? This is the exact context that you're going to be using. to reach out to those prospects. So without this reason, without this context, the outreach, it just feels irrelevant. The next thing is you need to find when these triggers appear publicly. For example, it can be LinkedIn posts, it can be job boards, it can be company news, that is public news and everything. It can be press releases, it can be like my favorite funding announcements, or it can be as underrated as new product launches. Right now, you are not searching for people. What you are searching is for events. So we came from triggers to events. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to turn these triggers, these events into search rules. Now, what do I mean by search rules? I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you're tracking companies that have been hiring a few people here and there. Your search rule will somewhat look like this. Companies hiring like 5 engineers in the last 30 days. That is your search rule. That is what you're tracking. The next thing that you need to do is you need to extract the decision makers that you're going to reach out. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to extract the decision makers that you're going to reach out to. By the way, the exact decision makers that are making the decision of the exact offer that you're doing, this will be in the deep research, the market research that you have done with Gemini earlier. Okay. And if you're reading the entire deep research, if it is not there, just ask ChatGPT to include this also in the deep research prompt. So you need to extract the exact decision makers that are making the exact decision that you want, and they have the authority to make those decisions. A few common ones are like founders, it can be CEOs, it can be VPs. If you go more up market, like enterprise level companies, then it can be departmental heads. It can also be directors. The next thing that you need to do is you need to turn all of this exact process into a system. Your step should be, you need to like automate the signal detection part, right? You can use like n8nmake.com. You can make your own custom signal intelligence platform. It is that we have, or you can use manual research teams, or like you can hire people to do the exact monitoring of the exact market that there is. But firstly, you should be able to do it manually. And let's say you're doing manually, you can get 10 on 10 efficiency score, right? The system that you're going to build, mostly it'll be around 7 to 8 on 10 in the efficiency score. And that is okay. It is not imperfect. It is not bad. Why? Because it is where all of those systems start. The more you use the monitoring system and everything, it gets better and better and better and moves towards 10 on 10. And someday it will reach 10 on 10. But like if at the start it is not 10 on 10, it's okay. You don't need to worry about it. The next thing that we need to do is we need to find the exact contact information of the decision makers of the companies that we want to reach out to. So till now, what do you have? You have your entire offer figured out. You know who needs your service and where to find the people who immediately need your service. Plus, you know which company that they work at. So the next step is you need to find a way to contact them, right? Because if you're just not able to contact them, all of the research, everything, every work that you did, it goes in vain. So what are the contact methods? Like what are the things that you can do? You can get their email, and emails are particularly standard in B2B businesses. In any businesses, emails are particularly standard, unless it's a local business. If it's a local business, then you can find their phone numbers. You can also use their social media profiles such as LinkedIn or X, which is, Twitter. Like you can use all of these things. As of now, we are going to choose email. Why? Because it's like the most common channel, right? Because like everyone uses it, and it allows you to build a more scalable outreach system. The way you find emails is you can find it through websites like Find Email or Email Finder. Or you can build your own email finder and verify that we have done basically for our team. You can use hunter.io, you can use Apollo, you can use a lot of things to find the emails of the exact decision makers of the company that you want to target. What these tools basically do is they ping the email server of the email that the person is using, and they see if it is valid or not. If it is valid, then it is verified. If it is not, they use another permutation and combination to guess an email basically. We are going to have the LinkedIn and Twitter also in it, but we are going to leverage it for the people who are absolutely surely showing interest to us so that we can warm them up more and convert them into clients. So now you need is the exact outreach system, right? The exact client acquisition system. You can contact the prospects with the emails in a few ways. First thing that you can do is you can do this manually. Obviously, anything can be done manually, right? But also you can do this with a system too. And this system is basically called an outreach infrastructure. So how do we build this entire infrastructure? The first thing that we need to make sure is we have a good offer. We have done the market research. We have the entire monitoring system in place. We have the exact email addresses of the exact decision makers of the exact company that we want to reach out to. And after that has happened, we buy more domains. What are domains? You see www.xyz.com. That is a domain. Whatever you see when you type that domain and whatever you see on your desktop or your phone, that is the website or the web page or whatever that there is that the company or the domain owner is showing you. That is the website. For example, let's say my main domain is www.developandtransform.com. That is our own website. Then you can just go to ChatGPT and just ask it to give you 10 related short domains. It's going to give you multiple of them. Let's say, go devtransform.com, devtransform.co, transformdev.com, anything. Basically, it's going to give you 10 different domain IDs. You need to go and buy all of these domains. You can use GoDaddy, you can use Pogbun, you can use Namecheap. There are multiple other domain marketplaces that you can go ahead and buy all of these domains. After you have bought them, the next thing that you need to do is you need to create multiple emails in each of these domains. Specifically, in each of these domains, you're going to create 2 to 3 email addresses. For example, my name is Tushar, so I'm going to create an email such as tushar@godevtransform.com. This is the exact domain that we have bought. So we are going to create an email inside those domains. For example, let's say we have 10 domains. Okay, in all of these domains, we are going to create 2 emails. So this gives us 20 email addresses. Now that we have 20 email addresses, so we'll be using all of those emails to send emails to the exact decision makers who are having the exact urgency, who are having the exact problem that we have identified from the monitoring system that we have set up. But one thing that we need to keep in mind is we need to send limited amount of emails from particular email addresses. You're not going to send 500 emails from just one email address. Let's understand this with an analogy, right? Let's say you have a card. Wow. Oh, this is a nice drawing. Anyways, let's say you have a card and the max speed it can go is 150 miles per hour. Now, are you going to, in the real world, in the real environment, on real roads, are you going to drive at the speed of 150 miles per hour? No. What are you going to do? You're going to drive at least maybe around 40 miles per hour. Or whatever the exact speed limit of the exact road that you're in is, right? That is the exact same thing with emails too. Sending too many emails triggers spam filters. Okay, in spam filters of the email providers. Why? Because sending 500 emails or 1,000 emails from just one email address, it's not human. It's not a human activity. No human just sends 1,000 emails, and those are good emails that are actually relevant emails. No human just sends that much volume. And the email providers know this. So they put you in spam. They put you in email jail. Right? And who reads their emails in the spam folder? No one. So even if you have a great offer, even if you have monitored the exact market that you want to target, even if you have identified the exact company and the decision maker that you want to reach out to, even if you have gotten the exact contact information of the exact person that you want to reach out to, if your emails are going in spam, everything goes downhill, right? And the next thing that you need is a sending software. What is a sending software? It is basically like a Unibox or basically a software which helps you send multiple emails and customizes the whole outreach system for your needs, and it makes it very easy to manage the entire system. You can use softwares like Instantly or like SmartLead or PlusVibe. There are multiple others, but these are like the three mains. Now, before sending, what you need to do is you need to warm up those emails. Why do you need to warm up those emails? Because let's say if you have an email that is very new, and if you just start blasting multiple emails, the email providers will know that, hey, this is a newborn. It cannot just go ahead and walk, right? This person that has just made a new email address, they are clearly spamming, and they know it. So what do you need to do? You need to warm up those emails. So how does warm up works? The software that I told you about, Instantly, SmartLead, all of these have their own warm up process. And what happens is there are multiple other email addresses that are sending and receiving emails from your email address that you have put in the Instantly or SmartLead or PlusVibe. Okay. And what happens is this makes the interaction seem more human, and it gives you a running ground to send more emails. So what basically warm-up does, it trains the email providers to recognize your account as a normal human sender. Without warm-up, your deliverability will like completely collapse. It'll be like it'll just be like 100% spam. Okay. So warm-up is extremely important. So now the next thing comes, right? You need to be able to write the exact kind of message that is going to get a reply from them, that is going to put them in your pipeline. And that is called an outreach message. Do you remember I talked about context and what context is in this entire scenario? So we are going to use that exact context to structure our outreach message. But before that, I need to show you what not to send. So this is exactly what you do not want to send, right? Hey John, we are a company that specializes in blah, 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 blah. Let's get on a call. That is exactly that you do not want to send. That looks like a marketing campaign. That looks like an email campaign. You want your email to sound like it has been sent like one-on-one. It has been sent from a human to a human. It should not feel like that person should not feel like they are on a list. Nobody wants to be on a list, right? And see, this is classic mass lead gen email. You just don't want to be associated with this. So correct outreach framework follows this exact structure. The first thing that you need to do is you need to reference the exact trigger that you just monitored from the monitoring system. Then you need to connect that exact trigger to the problem that the person is feeling right now. And then you need to introduce your solution briefly, and then you need to ask for a low friction next step. Do not explain everything in the first message itself. Do not send them a paragraph explaining, hey, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, we have done this, we have done this, we have done this. It seems like you are a perfect match. Everybody knows you say this to everyone. Don't say it. Okay? It seems like you're a perfect match. Let's get on a call. Just don't do this. You do not want to be associated with that message. That is the exact message that you'll send, and the replies that you're going to get is going to be unsubscribe and a few other cuss words. Anyways, so when I talk about this like low friction next step, what do I mean? A low friction call to action can be, is this like worth a conversation? Would you like more information? Who's going to say no to more information? Are you the right person to talk to? The main thing that I want to tell you is avoid asking for a call in the first email itself. Don't be this guy. Don't just say, let's get on a call. Don't be that. Also, there is one like unsaid rule of this exact like outreach infrastructure. The thing is, you need to sound human. Okay? Your emails must sound personal, sound human, sound one-to-one. They should not scream like this is a marketing broadcast. I have received this email. This email must have gone to 10,000 other people with the exact kind of message. It should not feel like that. It should feel like that you are messaging that exact person one-on-one. It should feel human. And then we add just 2 follow-ups. The one thing that you should not do with the follow-ups is send something like this. I'm just bumping it up, just checking in. Did you get my message? John? ? You should not do all of those things. The only thing that you should do is give more value with each message that you are sending. Your follow-ups should include insights about either your offer or the problem that they are facing. And it should include examples of how you have solved the exact problem for the exact kind of decision maker that they themselves are. Okay. You can also send them case studies, but generally I don't like to send them multiple case studies. I like to send them just one, that too not the exact like the direct case study. What I do is I tell them that we have done this exact thing for this company and it has gotten them this result in these many days. Again, I'm repeating it. Do not send just checking in. Do not send that. The next part is booking the call. What you need to have is a calendar link, and also you can use this psychology hack, right? Which is basically if you provide 2 options to any person, they are more likely to choose one of those options. If you just provide a single option, they are going to compare it with whatever that their mind can think of. So you just give 2 options and they can compare it with it. So if let's say you are sending emails to multiple people and they reply, like, send me more information, or they reply with something as on the lines of, yeah, I'm interested, or anything like that. What you do is you send them more information, or if they asked for more information, and you can, and after that you can add a line sort of something like this, and hey, I can explain to you all of these things on a call. Will 8 p.m. EST work for you, or 5 p.m. EST work for you, 3 p.m. EST work for you, something like that. Give 2 options basically. And on top of that, you can send them your calendar link. So what happens is now they have options. They can either book the call or they can not book the call, and there are multiple processes after it. Okay. So basically you have done the follow-ups and you have a booking call structure fixed. Now let's say a prospect has booked a call right now. What happens then? There's this thing that many people do, and like there's the ugly side of business, but they do not show up to the calls that they themselves have scheduled for. Either they have already forgotten about the call, or they just do not care. But mostly it is like they have forgotten about the call and something came up that is more important for them than solving the problem that you are solving. So how do you keep the show-up rates of the calls that you have scheduled higher? So what you need to make is what we call is a pre-call sequence. And having a pre-call sequence, it will improve your show-up rates. Plus, the best thing about this pre-call sequence is it improves your close rates too, and it warms up the prospects. What you don't want the call to be is you don't want the call to become educational. You do not ever want the call to be something like this. So what do you do exactly? You do not ever want the call to be like that. You want the prospects to know exactly what do you do. You want the prospects to know the problem that you're going to solve. So the call just becomes the discovery and you customizing the offer according to the business that they are running, plus you showing them the exact ROI projection that they can expect from the offer, right? It should not be that, hey, what do you do? Tell me that first. It should never be like that. Because when that happens, the call ends with like, this objection. Let me think about it. Why? Because all of this has become more educational. So how do you solve this? You can build your own VSL. VSL is basically video sales letter. A video sales letter basically answers all of the questions that the prospect might be having before the call or about the offer or anything like that, any question that they are having. It basically kills objection before the calls even happen. So how do you make the exact VSL? How do you script it basically? The first thing that you need to do, you can run deep research from Gemini of an exact market, so that you can get the common objection that the buyers might be having. The next thing that you can do is you can take the transcripts of the sales calls that you have, and you can take the transcripts, put it into AI, and ask it to give you the questions or the objections that the people are having in descending order of frequency. And if you have that, you just go ahead and answer all of those questions in your VSL with that exact sequence. So you can build your VSL around these questions. It can be what the offer is. Basically, you obviously need to explain the offer to them. And then why it works, how it works. You need to provide the proof. And then you need to provide the objections. And you're going to answer them. Okay. And the objections, you're going to find it through this process, either through transcribing the sales calls that you have or through the deep research, or I prefer you do it both, because what deep research will find about your offer, find about market, if they're going to go on Quora, Reddit, and like many other social media websites, many other articles and everything that is on the public internet, and it's going to find the objection that people generally talk to each other about the offers that is generally in the market. So it's going to give you the objection that it are not showing up in your sales process, but it can show up before the call is even happening. Then you need a way to nurture your prospect. Then you need a way to nurture your prospects. So after someone books in a meeting, you need to send them obviously the confirmation meeting. And then what you need to send, you need to answer their objections. You need to explain the process. You need to share them like case studies. Basically what you want to do is answer any question that they are arising in their mind. The VSL that you have, you are going to put that VSL plus all of the questions you're going to answer in the email itself. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put a link on the bottom of the email, because what we have seen is many people just read the email, and the amount of impression that we get on the VSL is like 2 to 5% of the impressions we get in the email itself. Oh my god, I made a mess here. Anyways, so you need basically a pre-call nurturing sequence. Okay, again, I'm going to say this very clearly now. You need to structure all of this in such a way that whenever the prospect comes on to the sales call, the discovery call or anything, they should never ask, so what do you do exactly? They should already know what do you do exactly. The next question should be, how do we just start, or what is the exact implication, or what is the exact processes that is going to be for my business itself, right? That should be the question that they're asking on the calls, not what do you do. Okay, the one thing I need you to understand is these prospects do not want to be sold to. What they want is more information. Okay, your prospects, the people that you're dealing with, are intelligent enough. Your prospects, the people that you're dealing with, are intelligent. They are not dumb. What do they need? They need more information. And why do they need more information? So that they can make a more confident decision towards solving their own problem. And why am I calling all of these prospects that you're reaching out to intelligent? Because the monitoring system that we set up is only catching the signals that are public. They are catching the people who are problem aware. They're not catching the people who don't even know what the problem is, right? So if a person can identify the problem that they're having, they're obviously going to take more steps to solve it, or at least I hope they do. Anyways, so you need to provide more information to the prospects so that they can make more confident decisions. So all of these moves naturally help towards a person buying. So yeah, I've given you the exact client acquisition system that we use for B2B businesses. Now, if you want us to build all of this, you can book a call. The link is in the description. Yeah, see you. Bye-bye.